4th down, the final play, unless they can stick
Welcome
it in,
Buckeye Backers here.
Throws it. Incomplete. The Buckeyes win.
Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making adjustments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Sword, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Sword coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards.
Here they come.
Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield, and Smith, he's got it. Jeremiah Smith, the 2025 college football national champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Well, here we are. Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. And wow, has the college football landscape changed immediately? I mean, it seems like every year things are changing, but this year's just different in the transfer portal, and it does not look good for Ohio State so far. We'll see how they end up, but we just want to talk a little bit about how college football has completely changed, flipped upside down. It almost seems like everything's free agency, NFL free agency. Every year you're going to have to change how you build your team. Anything in particular that you want to put on that, Matt? Like, is this like an NFL system now? Like, or is it NFL on steroids?
Well, first off, thanks for having me in on a Wednesday. Usually I'm talking to you at 6 a.m. most mornings. 6 p.m. is much nicer. Feel much more refreshed this time around. But yeah, and we've talked about it for years when you started looking at the scheduling and you talked about the playoff format and the system and the number of games and the fact that 1 or 2 losses now in the regular season doesn't exclude you from winning a championship. We talked about that being an NFL model, but I think your point about looking at this era of the transfer portal and equating it to NFL free agency, there's a lot of through lines with something like that. And just, I don't know where you want to go with that, but I think it's a great point to make. And it's something that people who really enjoy the NFL and watch free agency in March during the NFL year, you can see a lot of commonalities now here in the transfer portal.
For sure. Well, what I was thinking is, how you build your team is completely different. It's not going to be based on just solely getting guys out of the high school ranks. You're going to have to plan to save money, to save cap room for the transfer portal. And I think if you take Indiana the last 2 years as a case study, look at what Indiana has done. They don't have any top 200 recruits, 0. But what they're doing is hitting the transfer portal, finding those guys relatively cheap too, because it's like under the radar guys. And somehow Cignetti's able to find just the right players for his system and just the right players that have that grit, man, that can do it. And I think other teams are going to have to study a little bit how Cignetti hits that transfer portal and finds the diamonds in the rough.
Well, first off, I think the philosophy of football, regardless of level, is coach and quarterback. NFL, college, high school, peewee football. You got the right coach, you got the right quarterback, you're going to be in a position to succeed. And Curt Cignetti has found that this year. Fernando Mendoza, his first or second pick in this year's NFL draft. So that formula for success, it's hard to equate that with the transfer portal because of that combination of coach and quarterback, and you see that a lot of other places. But what you're looking at, and I think the philosophy of football, regardless of level, is coach and quarterback. NFL, college, high school, peewee football. You got the right coach, you got the right quarterback, you're going to be in a position to succeed. And Curt Cignetti has found that this year. That formula for success, it's hard to equate that with the transfer portal because of that combination of coach and quarterback. And you see that a lot of other places. when you're looking at this transfer portal and you're truly looking at the players in the transfer portal, you're looking at the teams that have utilized the transfer portal. You're looking at it and seeing what you see during NFL free agency. So kind of take a step back with NFL free agency. When a player is drafted in the first round, they basically, in essence, have them for 5 years. 4 years is guaranteed. There's a 5th-year option available, but that has to be picked up after year 3. So you don't know how their year 4 performs. You pick it up in year 3, whether you take that 5th year or not, but you have that 5th-year option. All players picked through rounds 2 through 7 have 4-year contracts. And then you can initiate an extension after year 3 with those players. What you see with those rookies who are drafted and the ones that really pan out, the really good quarterbacks, the really good players as a whole, you very rarely, if ever, see those players hit free agency. And if you really look at NFL teams and the way they utilize their salary cap, is they utilize their salary cap to pay the players they drafted who are Pro Bowlers, who are going to be top performers. That's where the best utilization of that cap space comes in. And that's where you see a lot of times in the NFL, when they draft a rookie quarterback, they got them on a cheap 4 or 5 year deal. It allows them to build parts around that. That's the best case scenario. You're going to see that type of model play itself out in college football now, where you still want to get those high school recruits. You want to hit on those 4 and 5 stars. And then you want to use that salary cap, however we want to define salary cap, the $20.5 million or whatever the boosters can string together. However we want to define that, you're going to be paying those players to retain them. And then there are certain players who may not fit what you thought they were, maybe then their expectations, maybe good, not great. Maybe, hey, I've got a lot of people at that position. I don't really need you like I thought I needed you. You're going to see those type of players entering the transfer portal now.
Yeah, you have to clear up cap space because you got to get other guys to fill the spots of need. Like you can't be paying guys that are second and third teamers $1 million, right?
Sorry, I just read Doug's comment.
And I don't really think it's that far down. Listen, Ohio State's at the top of all of college football, like the top 3 programs in college football, right? And you can make a case for some other teams that are in there too. But when you're at the top level, you don't have to be recruiting like some of these others. You don't have to be in the transfer portal like some of these other programs. You have that base already. So you have that ability to kind of sit back and see how things are going, because you can just retain the guys you have and you're going to be on an elite level. What you need to be able to do is sit back, analyze the market, and not make quick decisions without thinking it through. And I think that's what Ryan Day and his staff is doing right now. And they do the same thing with the coach hires. Like you haven't seen anything as far as offensive coordinator yet because I think they're thinking about it. Just like last year where it was like, who is Ohio State going to get for the defensive coordinator? It took forever for Matt Patricia to come out. And when it did, we were like, oh, all right. I didn't see that coming. You're going to see another NFL offensive coordinator like that come out of nowhere.
I agree. And everyone looks at the transfer portal and transfers and everything. It feels very sporadic. And I know it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. There are benefits to the transfer portal in a couple of different areas. One, there may be that 4-star you picked up that was a top 300 player, never panned out and is 3rd or 4th on your depth chart. And now they say, hey, I'm going to go transfer to a MAC school. I'm going to go transfer a Mountain West school because I want to go play. I know I'm never going to see the field. That frees up a scholarship for a Big Ten team, an SEC school. So there are some perks and benefits through there. But I think where people are glossing over is they seem to think that you're going to build sustained success through the transfer portal. And that's, again, another commonality to where you look at NFL free agency. Nobody in the NFL says, I'm going to build a Super Bowl winning team through free agency. And the rationale is the great players in the NFL never see free agency. They are locked up in contracts. You never see any semblance of any good quarterback ever hit free agency in the NFL. Same with tackles, Same with DN, same with D tackles. The premier positions, when you find a great one, the teams retain them. What you see in NFL free agency is a lot of good, a lot of nice to haves. Maybe a safety that's a good safety, but he's asking for $15 million and you only have cap space for 10. That's a nice to have, but you're going to let him walk.
Sure.
You're going to see a lot of those type of players in NFL free agency, and you'll find a diamond in the rough here and there. They find the right fit, the right coach, the right system, and they excel. But by and large, most NFL free agents you see cut in a year or two. They just weren't worth the money. They didn't pan out, and you don't want to soak up your salary cap space on those players. That's the same philosophy and concept you're looking at with this transfer portal.
Mm-hmm. I agree to some extent. The difference is in college, you have such different levels of college football. You have the best of the best. You have the Power 5 or whatever you want to call it. I think it's Power 4 now. And then you have the group of 6. Also, you have like the MAC schools too. Like you have that next tier down, a tier under probably the group of 6. You also have Division II to pull from. So there's different levels of football where guys can work their way up and they don't have the financial power like you have in the NFL where you can pay those millions of dollars. So if a guy comes, let's say they're going to Appalachian State and they're the level of a Power 4 program, there's no way Appalachian State's going to be able to maintain that player on their roster for a couple $1 million. It's just not going to happen. Those type of programs aren't paying millions of dollar contracts for guys to stick around. And if they do good, then they have some financial benefactor that's helping them get there, right? And that is the other thing. Like right now, it's popular. It's popular for these multi-millionaire, billionaire type people to invest in their school and just for recruiting purposes. But these people that have made billions or hundreds of millions of dollars in their lifetime didn't get there by giving away money. So I don't think that that's something that's sustainable for 10, 20 years. This is something that's going to be kind of fizzled out in the long run. It's just a popular thing for people to invest in the recruitment of college athletes for their success right now. I don't think that's going to last forever.
It depends on the status that comes with something like that. It depends on potential IRS tax breaks. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not sure. I think you will see it though with the aging population, the individuals in their 80s, right, where they can't take it with them when they go. So the T. Boone Pickens, the Phil Knights, those type to just say, hey, I'm in my 80s, or T. Boone Pickens is past sense, but they have the money and the resources to do it. But where the difference is you are not going to build sustained success by buying players in the transfer portal. You are not. You are going to find diamonds in the rough. And you find that in the NFL free agency. You find it in the 7th round of the NFL draft. You're going to find it in the transfer portal. Trinidad Chambliss, Ferris State, Cam Ward, Incarnate Word before he went to WSU and went to Miami. I mean, so you're going to find these, and that's the beauty of the transfer portal is I don't have to watch Khalil Mack play 4 years at Buffalo. And Khalil Mack's an NFL stud, maybe fringe Hall of Famer. But, it's sad that you're not going to see those kind of players from those kind of programs anymore. But the beauty of it is these individuals that maybe didn't hit their full strength or maturity until, body maturity until age 19 or 20 may have been a one-star overlooked. And now they have the ability to go play at Georgia or play at Ohio State because they grew into the body that they, expected to have all along. So there are that, but where the caution needs to come in is to make sure that you are not buying everything through the transfer portal or trying to build your program through. If you need a piece here, a part there, that's how you best utilize the transfer portal. But the bulk of your cap space should be built on through recruiting, getting those kids out of high school, and retaining the talent you have.
The other problem is, though, you have situations like Penn State where the coaches are leaving. At least this year, there's a lot of coaches that left and went to another program. They're going to take guys with them. But like in Penn State's case, those guys are leaving left and right, hand over fist. Some of them are going with James Franklin. Some of them are hitting the market and seeing where they're available. we'll see what happens with some of those guys. They want to get to a program where they feel comfortable now, and some of those are elite guys. Maybe not the best of the best, but some of those are pretty elite. And with things that are happening like at Ohio State now, you have a lot of your backups leaving that have a chance at starting next year, possibly, or getting significant playing time. That's something we weren't seeing last year. Guys with significant routes to get in the game, to get a lot of play, they're going to the transfer portal. Maybe you think some of these people are testing the market? You think there's a possibility these guys are coming back? Just go out, see what you're worth. And if you're worth a lot more, if you're laying up in a good space, go ahead and take it. If not, you have the option to come back. Like, I could see Aaron Scott doing that. I could see Mylan Graham doing that. Obviously Bryce West is already gone and he's not coming back because he got that deal with Wisconsin and he's there. But some of these guys are definitely thinking that they're worth more than they are. And maybe they are to another program, but just not to Ohio State, because we already have pieces at starting positions where they are second fiddle.
Again, similar to what you see in the NFL, where you may not have that cap space to retain that safety, that linebacker, that offensive guard. You like them, they're good, but you don't have the cap space for it. And you're telling them, let the market dictate your value. And if you think you're going to get $15 million a year, and I'm talking NFL numbers, right, not college, but you think you're going to get $15 million a year and you end up your market value is $9 million a year, well, that's what we told you your market value was all along. And I think you're going to see that same in college football. Listen, I don't think some of these players are going to go out and get $3 million contracts, but I'll tell you what, if they do, Godspeed. I'd take the money too. I don't blame any of these kids. If any booster from any SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10 school wants to throw stupid money at a high 4-star because they really need that position, that's where we lived in the dark ages for 100 years in college football in this area. And thank goodness these kids have the ability to go earn at the collegiate level.
Yeah, I'm all for that. But I think something's got to change. I mean, this is getting out of hand where just anyone could go. Like, the situations anywhere you can sign a contract and then the next day get in the portal and leave. That's a little ridiculous. No,
it's not. I can do it at my job anytime I want. You can do it at your job anytime you want. If you go out in the workforce, maybe you have a certain leader or boss.
You can, but you also run the risk of getting sued, right?
Most places are at work, right?
Correct.
You can choose to sever your tie whenever you want. Your employer can choose to sever your tie whenever you want. If you have a good boss or a good leader who you've worked for a year or two, and that boss goes to another similar firm, and they say, hey, I want you to come with me. Same salary, same everything, come with me. You're probably going to go with them if you really like working for that person.
Sure.
Similar to college football, it's no different. And if you really like your boss at your employer and your boss transitions to another place you don't want to follow, doesn't have a job, or something happens and that boss gets fired, you have every right in the world to go find a new job. Why are we restricting these kids in college football when their boss gets fired, their coach gets fired, and saying, oh, you shouldn't be transferring?
Oh, I don't think that there should be anything for that. I think a long time ago they should have been able to transfer if their coach left.
50 years ago they should have been able to do that. Yeah, sure. We're just catching up with this, but that's where, again, I don't think it is the wild, wild west the way people say it, because all of us would always look for the top market value in any profession we're in. All of us would follow a great leader who's been there for us, who supports us and trusts us, and has a quote unquote job waiting for us at the new place they go to. We would all do the exact same thing. Why are we saying these college football players should not be doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it just, I don't know. Maybe it's the old school fan in me. Maybe it's the traditionalist that I want to see the program. I want to see these guys build year after year after year and see how much better they get, and the allegiance and college football has just been so refreshing to watch and so traditional to watch because of how it was all along, where you knew who you were going to get. The roster pretty much stayed the same always. Now it's just, man, it changes more than an NFL does.
Oh, significantly more. But I'll tell you, go from what, 2007 to 2020, Alabama won 6 of 13 national championships.
Mm-hmm.
Who enjoyed that? Nobody.
The
Nobody
whole
enjoyed
SEC enjoyed it. They were
no, they didn't. I mean, Georgia
Yeah.
certainly didn't. Auburn certainly didn't. I mean, they didn't enjoy it. And that was because Coach Saban, the greatest coach of all time in college football, was able to go and just collect 4-star guards and centers and tackles and all these positions. He had 4 stars, 3 deep at every position. And he was able to basically lock them into a scholarship. They couldn't transfer. You had to sit on the bench 2-3 years. Maybe you got 1 or 2 years at best to play there. And he could survive anything. If half his team got injured, it was 4 stars replacing those injured players. He had the depth to be able to sustain everything, and pairing that with being one of the best coaches ever, it was easy. It's not easy now. You can't keep a lot of 4 stars second string at Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, these places, because they're going to say, I'm a 4-star. I should be playing. I don't care who's in front of me. I'm going to go play at Baylor. I'm going to go play at Utah. I'm going to go play somewhere, get myself on tape, and get recognized.
Right.
And so that's the shift we're seeing in college football. And now you're seeing really true parity. And I think that's refreshing. And I think in a lot of ways, you're seeing this actually model itself a little bit more from the NBA. With the NBA, you're seeing these first and second aprons, these harder salary caps, these inability to make moves or any type of trades. And you're not being able to see these big 3, big 4 teams like you saw 10 years ago, where they just stack talent and then there's a bunch of everything. Every year, you're seeing a lot of parity in the NBA. You're seeing a lot of parity in the NFL. That is good for your sport. It's good for your brand. And I think you're going to see that in college football now.
Yeah. One last thing, because I know you're not going to be able to stay on here for too long, but I wanted to I wanted to get your opinion on what you think, a team could do best. Do you think you could possibly have a team like the Patriots had before, where you had Tom Brady taking less of a salary in order to get a championship level team? Maybe some guys that just want to fight for those trophies, for that hardware, instead of just going out for the dollars. Because let's be honest, it's all about how much money kids can make now. That's what the transfer portal is, and that's why it's growing so well, because everyone wants to see, where can I go to make more money? It's not really about championships. It's not really about culture at a program. It's how much money can I make? The only reason Jeremiah Smith is at Ohio State is because he's making a shit ton of money. If not, he'd be somewhere else too.
I understand the comparison. I think it's a tough one. When you look at somebody, Tom Brady's a very unique position for multiple ways. One, he wasn't even the breadwinner in his own household, right? So he had the luxury of maybe taking a little bit less. And again, maybe this is because I'm a little bit more NFL minded.
How much less do you think he made than his?
I have no idea, but she did extremely well. His ex-wife, she did extremely well financially.
So you think she's paying him alimony?
Maybe, I don't know. She's probably got a damn good lawyer, so probably. But you look at the NFL and you say to yourself, okay, the pinnacle of greatness, what Tom Brady did, he has 6 championships with the Patriots, right? He got one in Tampa Bay, but he knew that by taking less money, that did free up cap space for the Patriots to either reinforce the players they already had or go out and get that key free agent. And it allowed them to do something that, quite honestly, we may never see another quarterback in the NFL ever do: win 6 championships with one team. It was incredible, the run that Tom Brady had. I think that's a really hard sell for kids, because let's be real. If you're elite in college football, you're there for 3 years. You really should only be there for 3 years. Again, we can have that debate all we want. I couldn't fathom a first-round quarterback or a first-round wide receiver who, let's just say theoretically, they had 3 championships, saying, no, I'll take this $4 or $5 million you're going to pay me, and I'll stay for 1 more year. It's tough because that doesn't translate long-term. You're great in the college ranks, but but you're not known as the best of all time the way you are in the NFL. Tom Brady is considered the best quarterback in NFL history, and he has 7 rings to prove it.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see that in college football, and I think it would take a very special circumstance. You know, let's say Julian saying, let's say Jeremiah Smith saying, yeah, I want a little bit more or else I'm going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Does Julian saying say, yeah, I'll give up $500K?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he would or he wouldn't, but that's where that is a potential case like that where maybe, possibly. But I tell you what, that would take the maturity of like a 55-year-old individual, that kind of knowledge base and that kind of cerebral thinking to say, I'm going to sacrifice money for the betterment of my team because I care about winning a championship here. That's a tough sell for college football, and it's a tough sell for these 18 to 22-year-olds.
I mean, it's a tough sell for the NFL. I mean, you don't see that often either, but I think that you're going to have to try to find players that are willing to at least make a little bit of a deal in order to build a talented roster, unless you just have an unlimited amount of money. And I don't think Ohio State necessarily has an unlimited amount of money. What they do have a path to the NFL.
No one does. And I think your point is valid that at some point in the future, the shine's going to come off this apple from a donation standpoint, right? I don't believe there's any tax benefits to this. There's only so many times you can sit in the press box, these luxury seats, be at booster dinners, eat the $1,500 plated meals that aren't even worth remotely close to that. That shine could come off the apple. And that's where I think you're going to have to see these collectives get creative. Do they establish, potential small money, small hedge funds or something along those lines to sustain that long-term revenue and growth? But these numbers, again, are going to continue to get higher because there's always going to be a program out there that maybe does have a booster, that maybe is going to pay 3 times the market value for a cornerback or an offensive tackle. So that's ultimately, too, where you're going to have to say the mentality of the players you bring in is also going to be very important. And I think that's what you're seeing with the success with Indiana and Kurt Cignetti. He's not going out and getting 5 stars and 4 stars. He's getting the right players to buy into him, to buy into his system, and he's coaching and developing.
Sure. All right. Well, I mean, you gave us your NFL perspective, how it relates to college football. Any last words from where Ohio State needs to go from here?
I think they need to continue like they always have with being smart with where they spend and what they spend on. I grow real hesitant of, let's say, something like the offensive line, trying to go to the transfer portal for something like that. I can't recall a lot of sustained success with something like that. I care very deep. True success. I mean,
McLaughlin last year. You had Phillip Daniels this year.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Remington Award winner. Good. I mean,
yeah, McLaughlin was good. I just keep recalling. Yeah, obviously, he got injured very late in the year, so I know that set him back quite a bit.
Josh Simmons. Yeah, I was going there next.
Josh Simmons would be a good one. I'll give you that.
I think he was a 4-star, but he did go to San Diego State.
I knew we had a San Diego State transfer. I just couldn't remember who that was.
And then he came in here and just became
but again, what I want to see from Ohio State is that model of those really successful NFL teams where I still want to see you have really good high school recruiting classes. I want to see you grow and cultivate through the high school. I want to see you retaining those players after freshman year, the ones that actually panned out as 4 stars, have the right character, attitude, skill sets to be successful at Ohio State. And then I want to be very strategic in what I get from the transfer portal. A player here, a player there.
I think you're going to see a drastic drop in how many student athletes you get from the high school ranks, because if they're not ready to start, you might lose them, and you're going to be spending too much on someone you develop for no reason. If you look at those 4 case examples already, Porter's gone. You invested a lot of money on him. Some I've heard say $1.5 million on Quincy Porter. Bryce West, I don't know exactly how much he was making, but it had to be somewhere in the $500,000 range. You're talking about Aaron Scott. He's in the transfer portal now. And Mylan Graham also gone. Those guys were making decent money to not be contributors. Like, that's a lot of money to just waste. You need to spend the money on guys that are going to be hitting the field with regularity.
But it's also about the retention component too. If you're going to say, "Hey, I'm going to pay you $250,000,"
they couldn't retain them.
Yeah, but you also can't underpay them either, because then you have no chance of retention. If you look at somebody like an Aaron Scott or Mylan Graham, the argument I'd say is, okay, you went on and tested the waters. You understood your fair market value in the marketplace. We'll pay you that now, but also remember, when you were fourth or fifth string on the depth chart, barely making special teams, remember, we were paying you too, right? We didn't shortchange you all those months that you were busting your ass in practice and never saw the field. We think you're capable of seeing the field now. We're going to meet you where you need to be, but we also paid you when you weren't.
Perfect. Well, talking about paying people what they're worth, let's talk transfer portal. And who do we need other than Cody Croy on here for some transfer portal talk? What's up, Cody?
How you guys doing?
Again, but see if you can get that. Something's going on in the background. I don't know.
Well,
You want to
Buckeye Nation, I'm going to have to bounce, but
all right, we're going to get Seattle Matt out of here. Boom. Oh,
let me move.
okay.
Just take me off screen for a second.
Well, I'll get you in the back. We got Alex Bryan coming in too. Here, coming in hot. Anything that you wanted to add to that?
I kind of have a somewhat opposite viewpoint of what Seattle Matt does. You know, you're looking at these last four teams that are in the playoffs right now. Indiana, like 60% of their roster is all transfer guys, and I think the lowest is Oregon or something at like 40%. I mean, this is just the way college football is now. Like, you gotta build a little more through the portal than recruiting. And do we want Ohio State to just be a, breeding ground for other schools through these guys that are just leaving after a year or two? Do we want to be a farm program for Wisconsin? I don't think so. Or Penn State, I don't want to be a farm team for anybody. So, I mean, if this is going to be the trend, we should just go get the best guys that fit the program out in the portal and not be afraid to spend on it. And obviously try to retain some guys that were already here, like a Caleb Downs, which he told us today he's going to NFL. So, but it's just like, I think the whole focusing more on recruiting days are dying. Like these kids are going to have to go start their, careers at San Diego State, like a Josh Simmons, who was a 3-star, by the way. And they got to go start their careers at programs like that, and they'll be the farm systems for us.
That makes more sense to me too. I think it's a blend, and you got to find that blend. Like, what is the right blend for your program? And I don't think that anyone can know that yet. I mean, I know if you're starting over and blowing up a program and starting from the beginning, like Kurt Signetti in Indiana, you have to hit the portal hard because the pieces weren't there. And that's the one thing I know Ohio State doesn't have to do. They don't have to be a portal program, but they need to have a lot more pieces from the portal. And it looks like that may be what's happening. You allow guys to go that have significant payrolls. You clear cap room, basically. And then you have money to spend in the portal. Because some of these guys, while they're great for the future, you can't pay them now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like if we keep recruiting like we do, there's not going to be some guys that are going to start right away. Obviously a Chris Henry Jr. at this point, it's looking like he's going to be a bona fide starter. Yeah. Yeah. He's just going to waltz right in and start. So, I mean, obviously, obviously we're going to have guys through recruiting that can start right away. But the problem here is we have a lot of other guys who we're just wasting our resources on at this rate. And you know, I've said it to a couple people today. I'll take going back to wide receivers like Paris Campbell if it means we get these trenches upgraded.
Oh yeah.
Like those wide receivers were just fine for me. I don't need all the 5 stars in the world. Like I love having Jeremiah Smith, and I'd love to have one every year like him. But if I mean we got to revert back to make the line of scrimmage way better, fine by me. Cool.
Yeah, I also think that we got away from having those speedy, shifty legend bay type guys, and I'm glad we got that back. Someone that could play more of that slot or kind of H-back role that you could hand it off to, you could do direct snaps with, and kind of change up the offense a little bit. I'm not sure that is something that Day necessarily likes to do, because for some reason he hates running quarterbacks unless you're Will Howard, and even then he didn't run that much.
He didn't let him run.
Yeah.
Will Howard just had to kind of
say I'm
side for himself. I mean, we all saw what he did at Kansas State, and he ran a lot there, and then he comes here. Day did it to C.J. Stroud too, cuffed him up.
I understood the C.J. Stroud because there was nothing behind him.
Yeah,
I mean, and then even more so when you got to Fields. I mean, it was just like at one point our quarterback room was just very bare, and I think that Stroud hurting himself against Minnesota. That really hamstrung him for the rest of his career as far as running. I don't want to see that again. But now, when you have Lincoln Keenholz behind you, there was no reason not to run. Zero reason. I really think that hamstrung this team, especially Miami. We're going to get into Miami in a little bit. Let's do transfer portal. That's why Cody Croy is here. He's been on top of it, right in the transfer portal tracker, seeing guys go out, guys come in. Article after article after article, obviously, because how many guys have we had to leave already or enter the transfer portal?
100.
So at this point, can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
At this point, I believe it's up to 21. Not ideal.
Okay. Keep going.
Not ideal, but a lot of those guys, you know, your guys like Dom Kirks or there was an offensive lineman that didn't get a lot of playing time. A lot of those guys, they weren't going to make the impact that, you know, a Quincy Porter would, because that's a big deal. Losing Porter is a huge deal. Now, like you said, we're going to have a Chris Henry step into a role, and he's talented, but I don't know if he's able to get the Jeremiah Smith production.
He's going to have to be.
In his freshman year. So
he's going to have to be.
We will see.
So, I mean, you're relatively, you know, brought up in the transfer portal era, right, Cody? So this doesn't seem as such a shock to you as it maybe is to the rest of us, because we haven't grown up with this. This is a part of our commitment, part of our history with college football.
I've heard stories.
Yeah, you've heard stories of people staying around for 4 years.
Yeah,
it used to be a nicer time.
Yeah,
there was plenty of parity before 2006 when everything got, you know, the SEC started really paying kids under the table and in secret, and everything started getting rigged in their favor. There was plenty of parity without all this crap. So
right.
And I mean, when I did my own show, we talked when this all NIL all started. We talked about our worries, and my biggest concerns were, what these kids are going to get all these millions of dollars. Are they going to ruin their lives with it? That was my biggest concern.
Sure.
All of what's happening right now is like 1,000,000 times worse than what I ever feared. So
I'm gonna let you two talk about the portal for a little bit. I'll be right back to join you. All right.
Got you. But yeah, I you know, what I think, Cody, is, especially when it comes to like the offensive line position, because obviously like 1 or 2 of them are in the portal now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What I really feel Ohio State's focus, especially in that realm, should be is recruiting wise, really lock down the state of Ohio when it comes to offensive linemen,
which Tyler Bowen has done a great job of doing.
Yes.
Very
and
good job.
then going to the portal for experience.
Yes.
Because if we can get more Ohio guys, because odds are the Ohio guys, they're gonna stick around a little
Yes.
longer. Now, obviously, Bryce West, and Aaron Scott, those two guys are Ohio guys. They stuck around for a couple years, and I don't know why they decided to leave. I felt like they were going to get a lot of playing time, especially Aaron Scott. I thought he was going to get a lot of playing time this next year. So I really do not understand like what that's all about. Aaron Scott says it's not about the money, so it must be because he feels like he's not going to get to play much. But
I don't know.
I feel like these Ohio guys are going to be the ones that are going to be the ones that stick around the longest, and they aren't just going to be here for a year and say, well, I'm going to go somewhere else now.
A guy like a Mason Wilhelm, for example.
Yeah.
His dad, Mason Maggs, Scott Maggs, his son, he just entered the portal, but he had been here for 2-3 years,
Yeah. And I totally get that. That's fine.
Right. Absolutely. Go play here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then go to a small school where you might play.
But like a Quincy Porter and stuff like that, he's from another state. There's no loyalty there.
Right.
He comes in here, me and Steve saw him at the open practice last year, and I was really impressed by him. And I thought, well, there's another good one that could be a sneaky weapon. And he just goes, 1 year's enough.
Well, and the rumors that he wants to be a wide receiver 1. Well, why'd you come here?
Yeah, why'd you come here?
You're gonna play behind Smith.
You knew damn well when Brian Hartline recruited you who wide receiver 1 was going to be. And I heard he was asking for money. Like that was just like, dude, you were injured most of the year. What are you asking for this for?
Right. You got to prove yourself.
I mean, hey, if he wants to be like that and go up to the team up north or something like that and be their wide receiver 1, by all means, he'll have nobody to throw it to. That's worth a damn.
But I will say, this newest commitment, Devin McCune, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's a stud. I'm really excited for him. I don't know if you've done any research on him.
I used to be ankle knee deep into recruiting. I used to follow it. I used to put it all in an Excel spreadsheet, and I would like keep tabs on everything. I haven't done that since NIL started because I used to be able to be like, well, okay, our quarterback's this right now. This is the next guy up, and this guy is probably the next guy up after that. Well, I just throw my hands up anymore because I'm like, yeah, this guy, is he going to be here next year?
Right.
I can't get excited about recruiting anymore. I want to get more excited about the transfer portal. And, I see the Texas Techs and A&Ms of the world have the oil tycoons. I see the Oregons, the Indiana's now of having billionaires. And I'm just like, Ohio's got plenty of billionaires, and a couple of them are
one of which we don't want to talk about.
Yeah. He could spend a little less time on an island and maybe forking up a little more cash for some of the best players,
Yeah.
And then, when we first hired Ross Bjork, I was really excited about the hire. I was like, oh, this guy spent loads of money for A&M to get them that number 1 recruit class they got the 1 year, which all of them ended up leaving at some point anyway.
Right.
But, I'm like, oh, if he's willing to spend money, this is perfect. And now he just won't even spend money. So it's just like.
Well, he had all that money from the oil, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different situation, but still.
Yeah, we got this Learfield deal that we just re-signed to,
deal.
and I feel like that's not doing anything remotely good for us. Is it, there's plenty of play. We just lost a cornerback that we were targeting to Tennessee, and it's like if we're just going to get outbid by everybody, are we even going to have much of a team to field in like 2 years? I don't know if you guys have seen that schedule next year. That ain't going to be easy. This could, if we play our cards right and are aggressive in the portal and all that good stuff, I feel like we could be 10-2 at worst. But if we don't, 3-4 losses is on the table. And guess what? If 3-4 losses happens in Ohio State, you think Buckeye Nation's bad now?
Oh, just wait.
Oh yeah.
Just wait. The
The
only
lunatic
reason we
fringe.
should ever lose 3 games in a season in this era of college football is if we're 2 losses going into the playoff and we just happen to lose.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the only reason we ever lose 3 games in the season. Any more than that, boy, you are cooked.
100%.
You are cooked. Because we're never going to make it in as a 3-loss team. They're not going to give us that, especially after what happened to Bama. So,
right.
Unless they expanded, of course, then maybe we could. But which they probably are going to.
I do think. Let's say that Ohio State this year didn't have the same schedule, but they had 2 losses, made it to the Big Ten championship game, and lost to Indiana. They would have made it in this year.
I don't know.
If it's in the championship game, you make it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
because and
it depends on the rest of the field too.
Because the rest of the field, they would have put Notre Dame in that spot, honestly. And they would have still found a way to put Alabama in there because Alabama played 100 overranked teams that shouldn't have been ranked, but they were, and they would have given them that grace.
And whatever happens this next couple weeks, if the Big Ten wins the national title again, these narratives are different. The Big Ten is getting the benefit of the doubt from here on forward in the playoffs. And if you have to.
The ESPNs of the world are still going to coddle to that conference, even though Paul Feinbaum's starting to not be able to stomach, But they're just going to be like, oh, the SEC is so great. Look at all the draft picks that they have this April. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It eventually you don't have anything to stand on, right? You can say whatever you want. You can try to spin narrative. People are just going to laugh in your face. If the Big Ten keeps winning national titles, that's what matters. That's the news. That's all anyone can talk about. You see some people on ESPN now even starting to say, hey, time to sit down. Like we were up here on this pedestal, but no longer. And there's validity to that. I mean, things are changing.
Hey, listen, I'm rooting for Indiana all day. I hope they get to play Ole Miss. I hope they get to beat Ole Miss because that'll just be another. I see no.
I'd rather Ole Miss lose right away.
I see no advantage to them playing Miami other than Indiana got to beat Miami on their home field for a national championship. That's whatever to me. If it's a Big Ten SEC natty and the Big Ten team who was literally 2 years ago a poverty doorstep program, if they win that's better than anything. So I'll take what I can get.
Is there anything else about the portal you want to talk about, Cody?
Well, you weren't in here for it, but Devin McEwen, new receiver commit, really like him.
Yeah.
Cam Coleman.
Best thing I can say is he is fast, really fast.
Would you say, Alex?
I will sell my soul for Cam Coleman.
Cam Coleman, Chaz Coleman.
You can. I honestly haven't seen the hype with Chaz Coleman the entire time. I don't think we land him anyway. It is what it is to me. I want Cam Coleman. And then I want I want the top 5 offensive linemen in the portal that are available still. And we can just replace the entire line with them and just.
I don't think we need to. I mean, I think our line's good. They're all coming back. Their experience is one thing that's different. When you get experience, that means a lot more. They played good all year. They had a couple bad games, and they'll get better.
Tegra's gone.
Yeah, and Tegra's gone.
That's great. Thank freaking God.
I wonder who's going to pick him up.
Have you guys heard the rumors about Bo Jackson?
No. I've heard zero
about
Bo.
There are rumors rumbling that he is trying to get more money.
And we aren't willing to pay
from Ohio State.
Really?
So he might end up.
It's a possibility.
And if that happens, heads will roll. If we start losing starters at a clip like that, I get losing Tegra. I expected after he got injured and started getting outplayed that he was probably told, we're probably going to go a different direction next year.
The writing was on the wall for that.
But Bo Jackson's RB1.
No, you can't lose him.
Yeah. So if we end up losing him because we're being too cheap, oh boy.
And one of my portal targets is I wanted the guy to complement Jackson, Wayne Knight. he's gone. So, the Buckeyes, there have been a lot of great guys in the portal that they've struck out on. Alano, the kicker, should have got him. Now,
we don't care about special teams, Cody.
They don't have a rostered kicker.
It has kicking. What does kicking do for us? You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't just lost us like 5 or 6 games in the last few years itself. So, I mean, that can't be that important, right?
So if we lose Jackson, fans are going to be on their last straw, quite frankly. And
do you guys remember?
I can just see the headlines now. Bo knows the transfer portal.
Remember when Dave Brandon was the president of the team up north, and the fan base got so sick of him like 6-7 years ago that they literally like had a riot outside of his offices, and they got him to step down. I think it's about time that we rally to start doing that at Ohio State.
Well, I mean, let's see how this plays out first. I mean,
I don't think it's going to play out well at all. We totally whiffed in the portal last year. Whoever is evaluating talent at Ohio State probably shouldn't have a job.
But the year before, we were 6 for 6. Every guy we got.
A lot of those guys were layups, though. Like Caleb Downs, everybody, like you could be a monkey that just was born, and you'll probably be like, "Oh, that's a great player." Like, duh.
Well, but
last year we actually had to try, and we completely failed.
I will say, we said that about Ethan Onyeonwa, and look what happened.
Oh, I thought he was going to be great. I saw that smelling salt video and how jacked he was. I was like, oh, there you go. Apparently
so nothing is a guarantee. Nothing is a guarantee.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You can spend all that money, and then they backfire, and you look like crap.
At Ohio State,
I've said this from the beginning of the portal. They're not going to take 10 transfers. They're going to be selective because of what happened last year. They're going to be more careful about how they evaluate the talent.
Well, also, you think about how long and watch these other teams that are in the playoffs still. You have less time to concentrate on picking up talent. Ohio State was in it till the end last year. That's a hard thing to manage. Like, number one priority really is winning that title first. Then something fell off Steve's wall. I don't know what did, but it's all good. That's what happens when you get Walmart duct tape. Right?
There you go.
Anyway, so where was I at? What was I talking about?
I don't remember.
We were talking about the portal. We're talking. I lost my train of thought.
But either way, we can't be too selective. Okay, like,
I understand.
And I get the whole culture thing. I totally get it. But like, clearly the culture isn't what we all thought it was this season, because we got 20 guys that just decided to up and leave. So, it's, and most of them, we saw coming, but there were a few there that was like, really? You? So it's like, at this point, if in these billionaires that we have that are alumni, like Vivek Ramaswamy, hey man, I know you're running for governor, but you want to throw like a couple cool mil towards your football program you claim to love so much. Hey, JD Vance, you're literally the vice president of the United States. You got money coming out of all of your orifices. You want to throw a couple good mil at your favorite football team since you almost broke our trophy last year. You want to help out a little bit. Like let's get it some money. Let's get it going. Like we got Mark Cuban, who I don't know why everybody's acting like it's new news today. Oh, Mark Cuban is funding Indiana. Like, no, duh. I knew that last year. Like, obviously, because he's a big sports guy. He wants his alma mater to succeed. He sees a guy come in as a head coach who actually does something worth a damn. And, of course, he wants to fund that to make them a superpower. Yeah. Kirstenetti seems to have it all figured out, folks. Why can't we?
We need to talk to that guy that plays for the Lakers.
Who's that?
Oh yeah, that wannabe alumni. I'm not going to count on him.
At the end of the day, he is an Ohio native.
All he's good for is giving us shoes. Woo, that helps us get guys. All right.
He does donate shoes. I mean, We got that.
Who
We don't need
cares?
shoes, we need money.
I need trenches. I need to not watch my team get bullied by other teams in the trenches all the time. I'm sick of it.
The shoes were so pre-transfer portal. Now we need millions.
Sick of it. I don't care about swag anymore. I care about bullying other teams and not being the one getting bullied.
Well, that brings me to my next point. Let's get off the transfer portal. Let's go into the last 3 losses for Ohio State. All have a theme. And those themes, that theme is no adjustments made in the first quarter. 0.
Yeah, fair.
Absolutely 0 adjustments. Remember when I was looking back on it, and I was watching some of the videos, and the video after the Michigan game from 2024 was like, one of the questions asked was, why were there no adjustments made? And it's like we just went forward in time after that, learned from not making adjustments, made all these different changes to the offense, came out dominated in the playoffs against Tennessee, against Oregon, only to revert right back to that this year in the postseason. Like, you forget everything you learned. And zero adjustment.
You know exactly why that playoff happened the way it did last year. And it's because those players had that meeting and brought Day in and called out his manhood.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you are being soft. This is why people don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, that, like they literally called him to the floor and said, bro, like you got to drop your nuts. Like, stop being in your own way. Stop being a scared little, you know what, like stop. Mm-hmm. And Day responded clearly well enough. But then after 12 games this year, probably got a little too comfortable, forgot everything that he learned from last year and went right back into the turtle shell that he goes into.
Well, and a lot of people were talking this year, particularly against Miami. They were like, oh, these plays were drawn up well. We just didn't execute. Well, if you don't execute play after play after play after play and you keep getting pressure on your quarterback, what do? You make adjustments to that.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I'm not seeing. 0 adjustments until halftime. And I don't know why. If you were head coach of a Pee-wee football team and you're getting dominated up front by their defensive line, would you just keep doing the same thing?
Well, here's the thing, Steve. It's not that some adjustments weren't made. We saw the adjustments. We started running tempo, right? But Ryan Day is allergic to tempo. So once we got up to 17-14 and we were within striking distance, all of a sudden Day said, all right, let's go back to our normal play call. We'll just keep going slow and methodically like we have the lead. We'll do 7 plays here, go for 6 yards, waste 4:20 off the clock in the fourth quarter, and that'll be enough to win the game. Well, guess what? That just wasted time and killed any chance of you making a comeback because you didn't get any points. So he keeps wanting to play the slow game, and I get probably a lot of it had to do with maybe not trusting in the offense like he usually would or whatever it is. But you gotta be able to do it on the fly. You got to figure it out. And
I don't think it's necessarily just tempo.
That has a lot to do with it.
If you have a defensive line, and that helps take off the pressure of the defensive line. I mean, there's a multitude of things you do. You run the ball, you run screens, all right, and you hit the short passes. Why did Carson Beck get so many wide open receivers? Because he was hitting those short passes. We were still drawing up plays. We were still drawing up plays to hit a wide open tape way downfield. We need to draw up the plays to have a quick pass. Get saying back in.
Well, their DBs were also not playing 8 to 10 yards off the ball like ours were the entire game. Our defense picked the worst game to have their worst game of the year. Like, they didn't play well. They didn't. I mean, I get it. They let up a last minute touchdown that made it, worse point wise and stuff. But they did not play a great game, and they could not get off the field when they really, really needed to. And I don't know what the whole deal was about playing 8 to 10 yards off the ball. If we had just played them closer than that, I feel like if we forced Carson Beck to throw downfield a lot more, we would have absolutely dusted him. But we didn't. And, our defensive line, yet again, in a game like this, isn't getting any pressure. They're getting bullied by the opposing offensive line. And I see a lot of Buckeye fans on the flip side of things comparing Julian Sain to Kyle McCord because they were like, well, he was just too scared. And I'm like, what would you be like if like the first couple plays of the game, you're getting absolutely blasted by the opponent's defensive line? Like, what would you do?
You do get flustered, and you
right from the get-go, he was like, "Oh God, I'm going to die." My offensive, like I keep saying it, if you have a young quarterback, guess what? Your offensive line has to elevate their play to protect that quarterback. And they
needs to run too.
He does need to run.
Open, you run the damn ball. You have to take what the defense give you, and if you're saying you can't listen to a coach if they're telling you not to run, you just can't. You have to run.
Well, I mean, we all learned that with CJ until the last game where he finally did run, and guess what? It worked, right? Well, Ryan Day, you know, as much as he's learned from some lessons, there's a lot of lessons he still hasn't learned from.
He is not McCord,
and this is why we're not going to get a kicker worth of crap. We're gonna probably run this recruit out who can only do a max of 41 yards, and he'll probably choke every chance we get to put him out there. Like I'm waiting for Mike Nugent. So one of his kids, he's got to have kids, right? Are they old enough to be in college yet? Can we get one of them in here? They got to have a golden lake like he did. And I mean,
Alex, what do you think? You sound like it's the end of the world, like Ohio State's.
I'm over it. I'm over the fact that there's 12 losses in Ryan Day's record, and 7 of them we've been bullied on the line of scrimmage. I'm over being called soft. I'm over seeing on Facebook that they have a T-shirt that they made of Michael Irving putting the belt to Brutus's ass. I'm over it. I'm over being the punchline to every joke. That we are literally on the doorstep here of having something very special go on at Ohio State. And the only person that's stopping it from happening is Ryan Day.
Is the person that built it into that.
Too. It's Ryan Day. He's right there, and he just continues to do the same dumb stuff in all these games. And here's another thing. There is never, ever, with the talent that we have on offense, there is never an excuse to score under 20 points in a game. Yep. I did the math, and
I want to hear that.
And there's been like 25 games in Ryan Day's tenure where we scored under 30 points. Which, if you score under 30, if you're playing a good defense, I can understand that. If you score like 28, 24, whatever, okay. And I believe it's 15 out of 25 games we've won when we scored under 20 or under 30. So 60%, not bad, right? Then you get under 20 points a game, and we've only won 2 out of 6. So, and I believe the only wins were Notre Dame 2023 and the Texas game this year. There's zero excuse to score under 20 points. Absolutely zero. We're just destroying our offensive look for the future if teams go, gosh, they got all this talent and they can't even hit 20.
Yeah. And I think what happened this year with slowing the pace of play, the attention on that grew, and it seemed like a smart thing to do. Save your team for the 16th game of the season. Well, if you can't make it to the 16th game of the season, you're not saving it for anything. And what else did you teach the team? You have something hanging in the Woody that says 4 to 6, A to B. Well, when you're not coaching 4 to 6, A to B, how are the players supposed to play 4 to 6, A to B? You have to have that killer mentality all the time. You look at Kirk Cignetti's team right now. They are stomping Old Dominion and not taking their foot off the gas. They are stomping anyone they play. Indiana State. They're stomping Illinois. They scored 60.
Alabama.
They beat the brakes off of Alabama. And guess what? You know why? Because that was ingrained in them from the time they started snapping the football at practice, that we're going to continue. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep grinding. And we're going to keep holding them down while they're down. We're going to kick that horse when it's down.
I was told by Ryan Day back in early November that we're going to turn up the gas.
And we didn't. The problem is, if you have taught the team that you don't turn up the gas, it's hard to flip that switch and turn up the gas.
Should
You
have
have to
been
turn up
done
the gas
well
against
before he
Rutgers.
even said it.
You have to turn up the gas against UCLA. You have to turn up the gas against Texas. Anyone you play, the gas needs to be turned up and have that killer instinct all the time.
Well,
Otherwise, you just made the identity of the team someone who sits back and relaxes.
I
Or
was
a team
okay with the first 4 games of like easing Julian into it. Like it worked. But at that point, that's when the switch needed to be flipped.
You know where-
that's when
you know-
things needed to start getting ramped up.
You know where I got pissed off? It was the Washington game. That's when I was like, you had every opportunity to put this team away early and often, and you slowed it down on purpose.
Yep.
Why? We thought it was smart. You want to learn that run game. But you know what you needed to do? You needed the bread and butter plays, the plays that you know you can do at any time, no matter what, and you needed to practice them in live competition often. And those plays were get the ball to your playmakers. Those plays were, Penn State, allow your quarterback to run when it's open. Take what the defense gives you. Earlier in the season when everyone was playing back, they were dinking and dunking all the way down the field. Do that. Do that with some tempo and keep scoring.
Ryan Day just doesn't want to run tempo. I don't get why.
I think it was this year, like he had that mantra, I'm saving the team. He thought he learned something last year, with some of the injuries that happened and with having guys fresh and ready to go and having a lot of parts. They got a lot of guys in the transfer portal. They had 2 running backs that they knew they could rely on. They had Will Howard, who was someone who could take hits.
Yeah.
He was bigger body. And I think that got into his head too much to the point where he's like, I need to save everyone this season. And so we're fresh and ready to go when we get to the playoffs. And it backfired because this team didn't have an identity. They did not have an offensive identity. If you wanted a play to be called, you don't know what play you want. So you go all over the place looking for different things, whether it's, a 14-man personnel in the red zone or whether you're splitting everyone out wide in the red zone. You don't know because you haven't established that by kicking teams' ass all up and down the field all year long like you should have done.
And could have got more playing time for guys who are now gone. You know what I mean? And maybe they would have stayed had they got more playing time. So exactly. I think on it, and listen, this season going into it, I said we would be 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
I said we'd maybe make Indy, maybe not, probably mostly not. I thought we'd lose to Texas and the team up north, and I thought we'd win the playoff game at home, and then the next round we'd be out. I didn't see a repeat this year. So we exceeded what expectations I had in the grand scheme of things. And I got a hoodie now to memorialize the best part of this entire season. Yeah. So I could be happy about this, but I'm not going to be happy about losing games the same way. If we had put everything into this and Miami just was a play better, fine. But when we come in and we're getting bullied again and again and again, it's like, when is that light bulb gonna finally flicker on and we're gonna get obsessed about getting these trenches to be top tier in the sport? Like, when are we gonna have the light bulb go off to be like, we have these guys on offense that we have to be ruthless. Let's go be ruthless.
Well, and it doesn't look promising because the defensive line, I mean, you probably lose McDonald. You've lost Malone. You have 2 defensive tackles that are upperclassmen. The rest are freshmen. And then the edges, you have Kenyatta Jackson.
We got good old Johnny Walker back.
Yeah.
He didn't come the first time around, but now he's back.
And he's good. I like him.
Yeah.
But there's so much youth in that room that the trenches, unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be better. I don't know.
Well, what does it matter if they can't get any pressure on any good teams?
Right.
Well, I think that was the result of us just thinking they could handle Miami and overlooking Miami. We don't need to rush more than 4 because you saw them blitz a little bit more in the second half. They made the adjustments. Again, adjustments were made at halftime when they should have been made in the first couple drives at worst case end of the first quarter. when you're like, all right, maybe these aren't working. Let's do something different.
Yeah, the defense really just played their worst game of the year, and I mean, even their worst was like
the exact.
I gave them like a
Yeah.
C-, I think. But it's just, God, like I'm, as soon as that pick six happened, which I saw a lot of people blaming Sayin for, that was all on Jeremiah Smith.
Correct.
But I'm just like, as soon as that happened, I just knew. I said to myself, oh boy, we'll be lucky to win this game at this point, because at that point, any confidence Sayin had left that wasn't pounded out of him by getting sacked was like gone, and everybody was just going to play on pins and needles the rest of the way. And that's practically exactly what happened, except like in the second half when we did start running tempo, Sayin was getting some confidence back, and of course Day was just like, we should stop that. We should stop doing what works. That makes sense. They can't stop it, so let me stop it for them. Yeah.
If Ohio State wants to get back to 2024 level, they need to get their Matt Patricia on offense, because Day cannot call the plays. They can't have it.
Not anymore.
Let's get to the locker room. Let's get Exec's comment here real quick, because I think this is great. If Coach Day goes the CJ Stroud route and not let the quarterback run when there's yards to get, we will exit the playoffs early for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And that it stresses the defense so much. If you look at when Mendoza had to run, you look at even when Beck had to run, those hard yards, especially third downs, second downs and long.
Beck on the third downs especially.
It's really tough to get out of there when, the guy's firing it to the wide receivers, and when it's open, he's running it. It's just an extra element, an extra hat the defense has to be aware of at all times. Why don't you use that to your advantage? I have zero idea. I mean, you can clearly tell the one time when, it was the last drive of the game and he couldn't take a sack, but didn't even look in front of him to see that it was completely open to get the first down. I guess that was before halftime, wasn't it? Completely wide open, just nothing but green. Like, you could have run for the first down easily, but you could probably have gained 15 yards and got in better field goal range.
Yeah. I think he was just so hell-bent to give somebody the ball. I think that it's just an instinct of his that, while great, yes, at times you just got to be like, okay, I got something that can get me the first down here. And early on, I think it was on our first drive, even when we threw like a little, I think it was like a fade route that went incomplete to Cardinal Tate. Day at some points in this game was trying to like go for the big play on the wrong down, I feel, instead of just get the first down.
Yeah.
Like,
and that I don't blame him for taking shots. If he's going to take some shots, because we've been complaining.
Take shots on a different down than on a third. You wanted to start fast. Well, let's get the first down. Let's get ourselves a fresh set of downs. Then maybe like first, second down, you take the shot after you get the first down instead of going 3 and out right away. You know what I mean? If we could have got up 7-0 on them, put the pressure on them, that could be a whole different game. So we just really, we couldn't afford to have a bad first half, and we couldn't have had a worst first half if we tried, honestly. And that killed us. Killed us right from the rip. And we had chances to get it all back. We really did. But you can't expect a young redshirt freshman quarterback, after he's being slaughtered almost every play, to, it wasn't like the Team Up North game where we heard how he threw that pick and looked at Day and went, and then locked in. At that point, it was like, oh God, I'm getting absolutely murdered. I'm coming off a loss already. I'm getting absolutely murdered already in this game. We just hiked the ball for the first time. And you're expecting that guy to be able to reel it all in? Well, I expect him to do it next year.
I think that what gets lost in this is a couple of weeks before, or like a week before, we found out that Bryant Hartline was going to go back to the wide receivers coach. So now you lose your play caller and your offensive coordinator. How does that affect a quarterback?
Well, it should. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, it shouldn't have mattered too much because Ryan Day, we've seen what he could do as a play caller. I expected way more than what I got. I didn't expect Georgia game Ryan Day, but I expected a Ryan Day that could at least call to get 24 points.
Yeah.
And as Steve said, the adjustments were made way too late when they were. And had you just adjusted it after the first drive or two, you probably could have changed the entire course of that game.
Correct.
And
but that's a theme in
Yeah.
these close, big games. 0 adjustments made in the first half.
Yeah.
0.
And
Let's
to have
let's
to
wait till
have the-
halftime to collect our thoughts. This is
Yeah.
a Ryan Day thing. We're not making adjustments. You have to choose not to, because there's got to be someone on that coaching staff that's like, hey, why don't we just run the ball? Why don't we run some screen? Why don't we chip the defensive ends with a tight end?
Yeah. And to have the goal to even line up for that field goal, to have the absolute brain deadness about you to line up for that field goal. I was really like, Day, do you just not care? We're going to trot this guy out. That's literally, you're 2-5 in games he's missed a kick. You're just going to trot him out there again and just add to that. You know what I mean? Like, I was at that point, I knew Dave wasn't serious about winning that game. I said, well, there goes the repeat. We got we got this far, and we're just going to say, screw it. There's always next year. We could always, hopefully get it together next year when we have a way tougher schedule. Just trot Fielding out there for a field goal when we really need 7. We weren't aggressive at all when we needed to be. And then when we finally were, we said, that's a little too aggressive. We're only down 3 now.
Saying next year is going to be tough. It looks like it will be now, but things can change real quick. Remember when Indiana didn't used to be a tough team to play? When they were on your schedule, you're like, that's a win.
I miss
Remember when Penn State was good? They were a team that you were going to beat for sure. And then this year happened. Something can happen, and some of these teams might not be as good as we thought they were.
We gotta go to Bloomington next year. That's probably an L. Team up north, who knows what team up north will get. I after the team up north game this year, I said, okay, my confidence in Ryan Day is restored. But then the last 2 games have taught me, okay, that Ryan Day that I don't like is still there. I can't ever trust him again. I will not be fooled twice. So that team up north game, that could be an L. Who knows? If he loses that game again, good God. I mean, every good thing that's been built up since the playoffs last year's just gone after that. So, we got to play at USC. I think we got Oregon at home. Like, boy, we got to figure it out, boys. We got to figure it out, boys.
Which makes this comment by the exec, even more relevant. We need some responsible degenerates, some real dogs, some of those back alley guys that you're going to take with you if it's dark and you're going to fight. We need some of those guys.
Haven't had it in a long time, really. Not as many as we used to have, for sure. It's like I was telling Cody while you were away earlier. When it comes to the offensive line, I'd love to just really primarily focus on Ohio guys for the recruit aspect and go get the experience from the portal and mix them in with each other. Because those are going to be the guys that are going to be the most loyal. That are from Ohio. Like you get a Quincy Porter, a wide receiver, he's in out in a year. So it's why are we wasting our time and our breath in this recruiting when really the portal has these gems that if we evaluate well enough and we're willing to pony up, which is the biggest problem, we could really make this thing into a dynasty that it should be. So I don't know. I don't know. Well, maybe not David Arnett was great, but like he got a little too degenerate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe a little less responsible degenerate and just
he got a little too degenerate. He like ruined his whole life type of degenerate. So yeah, maybe not that, but I don't know, man. Like I said, we exceeded my expectations, but at the same time, like if the season had ended on that Indiana loss, I'd be frustrated, but I'd be like, you know what? We played them tough. We held the Heisman Trophy winner 13. This Miami team, as great as that defensive line is, that was about it. And we got ran all over. We got sacked seemingly like every 5 minutes. Like we lose the games the same way.
They wanted it more than us. That's simple.
Yeah. And I'm tired of having to learn lessons from losses. You should be able to learn lessons from wins. And we just don't seem to learn lessons from wins. Like that Washington game you brought up, that would have been a great one to learn from when you watch the tape. And it's like, I just wonder because, that DB that got the pick 6, he said, I saw that on film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that was a play I think that I saw that we had ran maybe like 6 times all year. So if they're paying that much attention to film, I'm looking at Ryan Day and staff and I'm like, how much are you guys watching film? Are you watching film that insanely? Are your players?
Yeah. Also, Ohio State is not firing Day, first of all, and that would be a terrible decision.
For now,
we just need to learn. You need to learn from your mistakes. If you do the same thing over and over again and it becomes a pattern, that's a problem, especially in big games. Make adjustments early when you need to. Don't think you're going to just beat teams just for showing up and having Ohio State on your jersey.
And don't make the same bad hires again. You can't have.
I think Ryan Day's been making.
I think he just made a bad one.
Historically he's been good. But
just made a bad one? You mean by getting a wide receiver coach and not an offensive coordinator?
I think the wide receiver coach he got, and I think just in general, we need an OC. So you're gonna have to figure that out somehow because if they promote from within, we are cooked.
And that's what I'm saying.
Next year's gone.
You can't do that. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
It's
with
gone.
Hartline and Keenan Bailey. Like no.
Yeah. If oh my God, if that comes out, everybody like you think it's bad for Ryan Day now. That can't happen.
Right. Can't have
that
it.
Can't happen.
Can't
because honestly, and hate to say it, but the second we promoted Brian Hartline this year, that's when we lost the Natty. That's when we lost. Because we did that just to keep him here long term. And that backfired.
And that's the whole reason. That's it.
And a lot of it we had to slow down the offense probably because he was so fresh at it.
That's similar to when they hired Ed Warner in 2015.
That was a lot worse for sure, but it's similar.
And that's what kept them out of a national title in 2015.
Yeah, like 2015, that is still a worse failure than this one. So Buckeye fans, we've been through it a little worse because that team actually coming into the season, that should have been the repeat. That should have been. This one, we came in and we were like, well, as long as we make the playoffs to give ourselves a shot, you know what I mean? And which we did until we just threw it all away on the same old mistake. So I don't know.
Well, we beat Michigan. We'll hang our hat on that for this year. And it was a glorious win.
Listen, we have 3 goals every year. We all know them. Beat the team up north, win the Big Ten, win a Natty. This is still a more successful season than 21 through 23. It has success to it. It doesn't feel like it right now, but it has success to it. And would we all rather win a Natty? Sure. But it's not going to happen every year.
I think it's been 400 days since Michigan last beat Ohio State.
Yeah. And honestly, I got called crazy for saying it. That's the one thing we're guaranteed to do every year is play them. And if we can beat them, everything else is icing after that for me. So the cake tastes pretty good, has a little sour taste on it because of the last 2 games, but I'm more worried about how next season's going to go at this point because we got to figure out this portal thing. And then we got to figure out this OC thing. And if we manage to nail both of those, what I said before this season, that 2026 was our next best chance at a Natty could become true. So we'll see.
We always want Natties. That's Buckeye Nation, man. Once they gave us a little taste of being 12-0 in their regular season and then going into that postseason, we thought it was the team to do it.
I wanted to be 16-0 so bad before anybody else. But honestly, at this point, Indiana can have it as long as it trumps as long as it trumps Wolverine fans and gloating about their 15-0,
Mhm.
just throw that away. Indiana has the best team in Big Ten history. I can stomach that. I know like one Indiana fan. I'm not going to see it much to care. If Miami wins it, God, my Twitter's full of them right now. So I don't need that. I need them to get bounced tomorrow.
I would like Ole Miss to go out just so the SEC looks awful.
I would love them to get to the Natty and then lose just so the Big Ten could be like another notch. I don't need Miami getting. I need Miami fans to shut up. I just need them to get humbled.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I can post that picture of Carson Beck holding that Cotton Bowl trophy. I'll be like, "Here's your Natty. You waited 23 years to blow that load. Here it is."
If Ole Miss loses, think about this though. The only wins that the SEC has in the college football playoff when they had 5 teams in was against other SEC teams or a group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Everyone else they played, every other conference they
beating Georgia. Beating Georgia is still impressive for what they're going through. Like Georgia, everybody keeps calling Ohio State losing to Miami the biggest upset in playoff history. I'm sorry, that Ole Miss Georgia game, that's the biggest upset because unlike us, who literally had 11 days to prep for Miami because we knew we were playing Miami at that point. Georgia had 3 whole weeks or whatever to prep for Ole Miss because everybody knew Tulane wasn't winning that game. They had all the time. They weren't. I guarantee you, Georgia didn't even put on film for Tulane. They looked at Ole Miss the entire time, and they still managed to lose that game. That's a bigger upset.
That's good.
And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Buckeye fan and I don't want that onus on my team. I'm saying that because it's true. Having that much more time to prep for an opponent than we did. And their fans were complaining that they were disrespected that they didn't get the 2 seed over us. And I'm like, you guys got a gift and you still blew it.
Like Miami has bandwagon fans. I haven't seen them in 20 years because they've been asked. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, most fan bases do, but
they're all like, oh, we're back. We're here to stay. I honestly don't think they get back into the playoffs next year. I really don't. And if they do, they won't be consistently in it because the committee doesn't respect the ACC. They only got in because Virginia lost. Otherwise, they're not in.
They got to now. I mean, SEC might be the 3rd best conference. ACC might be better.
ACC is still dog water. Let's be real. The SEC is better than the ACC by a lot.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss loses to Miami, that doesn't prove anything. Ole Miss made it way farther than they probably should have anyway, given they don't have their head coach and stuff. And they got 2 coaches on staff at this point because Lane Kiffin.
Everyone's going back to LSU.
So, and that's probably what's going to lose in the game is just all that distraction. But I hope not. I hope Ole Miss makes it to the Natty and then gets absolutely blasted by Indiana. Go Hoosiers, baby.
One more thing before we get off here. What do you guys think about the Damon Williams situation at Washington?
That is wild.
I mean, everything about that is just insane. Signs a $4 million contract. Next day, gets in the portal. He gets in the portal while Sam Leavitt is on a visit to LSU at a basketball game with Kiffin. It's just like, man, this is the most cutthroat snake oil salesman type shit going on that I've ever seen in my life.
And he apparently signed something.
Yeah, he signed a contract.
Yeah.
The day before he got in the portal.
Yeah.
$4 million.
Now they're saying they're looking into all the things and the loopholes of it and saying, well, they didn't sign him to play football there and all this other stuff. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but this is going to be something in textbooks years from now about how NIL started and the complications of it. Because I mean, if you want college football so badly to be the mini NFL, then you got to structure it exactly like it. So these kids can't do that then, because this goes so far beyond my biggest worries for NIL at this point. Where is the sport that we love? Because there's no loyalty now. There's kids that are just I've Washington, I just signed this, but screw it. I'm going to go play somewhere else anyway, And my agent found all these loopholes in this contract. They're going to still have to pay me and I get to go play somewhere else. That's probably what's going to happen. They're probably stuck because he signed that. They're going to find all the loopholes in it and be like, you still have to pay him, but he's going to go play somewhere else next year. Sorry.
Well, I think it's just a matter of how much you chase legally. Like, how much is Washington willing to spend to go to court for all this? Most of the times, these things just fizzle out because no one wants to go to court.
Yeah. If you are against what's going on in college football with NIL, you are rooting for Washington in this court case, because if Damon Williams would win a court case of this like this with what's happened with it, boy, that can of worms is even worse than it was before. It's all over the floor. It's a mess compared to what it already is.
How do we solve this now that this is an off-season thing? And I guess this will be the last question. How do we solve this? Like, what is there a one-time transfer rule? Is that what we need to do?
How do you put the toothpaste back in the tube, Steve?
I don't know that you can.
Pretty hard. Hard.
I brought this up in a group chat. Here's the problem. A normal college student can go to as many colleges as they want.
Mm-hmm.
How can you stop somebody from doing that? I think they need to bring back the sit here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do that, but amplify it even more.
That's going to just be taken to court too. Like, you're ruining my chance to make a living.
Lawyer up, I think.
Well, yeah, the NCAA won't.
There's got to be. But the NCAA isn't going to do anything because
I don't think the courts are going to rule for the NCAA again.
The NCAA had a real good chance to get power back with that whole team up north thing, and they just threw it away. So they have nothing.
The 3-year contracts to play ball, I think, are going to be it. But you're going to have some type of collective bargaining. It's the only way out.
At some point, there will be a collective bargaining agreement.
It's going to have to.
100%.
And how that affects everything else, all of the other sports, I do think we've talked about it before, last offseason. I think all the Olympic sports are going to end up being club sports. They're not going to be school section sports. You're going to have to pay your own way.
I hope.
Pay for your own equipment, or somewhere the Olympic Committee is going to have to donate money, because these schools are going to run out of money. You can't you can't have 36 sports.
I'm sorry to all those other athletes. Like, I get it. You do your sport, you love it and everything like that. But football is king. And Ohio State's got to start treating it like it. Honestly, I've been vocal saying we should just disband the basketball program, put all the funds from it towards football. What's this basketball program doing for us? Nobody's coming to the shot anymore. It's dead. Just get rid of it. We don't need it. We don't need baseball either. Like, just primarily focus on the sport that matters, that gets you the most money, which is football, and call it a day. We don't need all these other sports. I get we're going to have some because of Title IX. Like, okay, we can keep women's basketball if you really want to. Like, they're at least respectable. But
no, I think you keep basketball. You just invest in a little more. It can be a money-making sport. I mean, there's been times where it's been great.
Ugh. I'm over it.
Final Four.
Everybody keeps getting their hopes up, and I'm just like, it's January. Watch the nosedive happen. It's happening. It's happening.
I mean, you look at the last game against Nebraska, they made it competitive. It was a fun game to watch. I know Cody was paying attention to it for sure. And Nebraska's a good team. It's just Ohio State needs to get on that level. I think what Ohio State did in the basketball situation is they took the easy way out, got a cheap hire, and saving money to make moves years down the road.
See, what I want is Billy Donovan to get fired from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
You give him a call.
We wouldn't even give Coach Calipari a call, and he wanted to come here.
Yeah, that's true.
So Billy, they don't care. And honestly, we all should stop caring about Buckeye basketball. All that matters is football here.
I love it when Buckeye basketball is good, though.
Listen, when it was good, it was fun to watch. I've just never been a guy who really cares about basketball. I just want this football program to just stranglehold everybody. And I thought we were there. I thought we were right there. And then we just pissed it away again. So you know what?
On the cusp of greatness.
We are like so close.
Mm-hmm.
So close. We are right there. And honestly, you know, when it comes to guys like Caden Curry and Styles doubling down on this whole 9 out of 10 games we'd win thing, we need to media train our athletes to just stop saying dumb shit out loud.
I love
just stop. Because that just makes us look worse when you're like, oh, well, you know, if we played them 9 more times, that maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but you don't say it out loud. Just like CJ Stroud after losing the team up north, even though they cheated against you, we just didn't know it at that point. Oh, well, you know, it was cold and I have the flu. Like, who cares? Just say you lost.
Yeah. Well, from the locker room, the exec, great show as always, guys. Go Bucks. We're not taking that L next year in Indiana, bro.
Don't be so sure. They're killing the portal. They're reloading better than we are right now.
They are. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be a tough game, but Kurt Cinetti, you know, when he first came on,
saying doesn't run, we're losing. If he doesn't run.
When Kurt Cinetti came on the scene and said the whole "I win, Google me," I laughed about it. I said, "Well, you know, this guy can take him to bowl games every year. He'll elevate him back to a respectable level." I didn't see this. I don't think anybody did. I thought he'd be 9-3 this year, which would be great by Indiana standards, to be honest. And he's he's a couple wins away from being the first one in this level of the sport to go 16-0 in the modern era.
Yep.
And I think the most amazing part is their team is not that good compared to Ohio State.
As far as the recruiting and the base of their team, but they just brought over talent from JMU and built upon that in the portal.
They're more than good. They're elite. They just have coaching and development. That's
right. That's what I'm saying. Done. Now imagine they get the recruits like Ohio State gets.
They're starting to.
Mark Cuban will make it happen. They actually have a billionaire who's willing to spend. We got a couple, and one's about to run for governor that don't want to give us enough money to make this thing up.
Yeah.
We got a guy with a name in the stadium and on hospital buildings who, again, should spend a little less time on an island in his past and maybe should, you know, spend a little more cash on Ohio State and this team he supposedly loves and, you know, give us money where it matters, the football team. Who cares about having your name on a hospital? I'd rather have my name in the shoe and focus on making the product than the shoes be elite and bring more of those natty trophies home.
We need LeBron.
We need LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. Hey, stop sending shoes. Maybe send like a couple mil, bud. Like you're about to be retired soon. You want to like
the exec has got Oregon beating Indiana.
Oh, they're no.
I get it. Indiana's a team of destiny right now.
Look at it. Look, did you see Oregon play Texas Tech? I get they shut them out, but they went forward on fourth down like 8 times and made it like 3 times. Like he was really coaching to lose that game, and Texas Tech just wasn't good enough to win that game. Indiana is going to beat them by more than 10 this time.
I dislike them both. Yeah.
And I tell you, I don't care if they play Ole Miss or Miami. Indiana is going to win that game.
Indiana's a team of destiny. I got them all the way.
They
that's the only one right now.
Kurt Cinetti, and I've said it on another podcast. I said if Kurt Cinetti wins this natty, if he's not already, he's above Ryan Day.
He's a king.
He is.
Yeah,
he is.
And then Ryan Day is going to have to look at that and be like, oh God, I went from like the best coach in the Big Ten last year to now I'm second.
It's. And like I said before, it's unbelievable what he's doing with not as much talent.
He's got everything figured out. He's got the portal figured out right. He's got how to prep your team figured out right. Like he has them on a schedule practice-wise and stuff that's like unheard of anywhere else.
And like the fact that they're recruiting better, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
They're pulling guys out of Columbus that
get used to it.
Yeah.
We better match it. Or else, guess what? Indiana's going to start running this thing.
Yep.
And Ohio State's going to be second fiddle.
Second fiddle to Alabama or to Indiana that just waxed Alabama. Wow.
Yeah.
Weird. It's weird. It's a weird world we live in.
I wish an NFL team could hire Kirk Cinetti away just so Ryan Day could give him a call and be like, hey, how did you do it all? You're not in college. You're not in college anymore. How did you do it all? And take notes. Because whatever Kurt Zanetti is doing, Ryan Day needs to do it, but better. It's not hard. Just look at what he's doing.
That's a perfect way to end the show. Do whatever Signetti's doing, but do it better.
Do it better.
Good luck.
Because that's clearly he's the only guy as a top 4 seed so far to make it past, the quarterfinals. He's doing something right that nobody else is doing. Probably a lot. So,
yeah. All right. Well, until next time, we'll probably do another show on Wednesday. God bless. Take care. Peace out. OH.
I-O.
I-O.